All right, welcome to another DFW Running Talk. I'm Chris Detzel, and today's special guest, and once again, second timer, is Travis Dowd. Travis, how are you?
I'm doing good, Mr. Detzel. How are you?
Oh my God, here we go. Mr. Detzel.
Sorry, I'm
I'm
doing
pretty good,
good,
man.
Chris. How are you?
I love it, man. You're very respectful, and I actually appreciate that about you, but you make me feel old when you do that. And I am
Sorry,
older.
I'll
There's
call
no
you
doubt
Chris. I'll
about
call
it.
you Chris for the rest of the podcast.
All right, perfect. Last time we spoke, you were fresh off a win in your very first marathon at Dallas Marathon. I always wanted to kind of get back with you, and we spoke, I don't know, a month or two ago to get you back on. You mentioned you've been a little bit injured, maybe a lot injured. So I thought this would be a good podcast to talk about a little bit about injury, what have you been doing instead, and all of that kind of stuff. So how does that sound?
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's a really important topic, something that I've struggled a lot with through college, and that a lot of my teammates have struggled with, and a lot of people that I know in the running community. Like everyone, if you're a serious runner, like you're going to struggle with injury at some point, and it's important to learn how to work through it and keep yourself mentally and physically stable through it.
Yeah, so what happened first? You got a little bit injured, and you've been injured for a little while. What's going on?
Yeah, so I think because it was my first marathon, I was not as sure how to recover from it. Like I was a little bit lost in the training for it, and I was making that up as I went, but I had advice there. I think one thing that I was unsure about is how do you come back from marathons. The week, a couple of days after, my body was pretty much in shambles. I was walking 1 or 2 miles a day, but it was tough. Like people aren't lying when they talk about the feeling a couple of days after a marathon. So I took a week fully off, which I meant like I that was the plan all along was take a week fully off. And then I was starting to get antsy after even just a week of taking off. Actually, I think I did try to do 1 7 mile run like on Katy Trail because I
Oh,
needed
man.
to, but that wasn't the best idea. My everything was tight. But then that next week, I went back home to Austin for break and started to run a little bit with friends there. And I was running every other day and then ellipticaling on the days when I wasn't running. And that felt fine. And then the week after that, I think I actually, I felt like I could ramp my mileage back up from there, but I was trying to do it in split runs. So a lot of people now, in order to decrease the load on their body, in order to be able to do higher mileage more sustainably, they'll split up their runs. So a lot of people do 6 and 6, so 6 miles in the morning, 6 miles in the afternoon instead
Yeah,
of
but
one
I
12 mile
mean,
run.
this was only like 2 weeks in or so,
That
right?
was the
Like
problem.
after the
So
marathon.
this was the third week after the marathon. And so I was starting to just do 6 and 6 every day and felt a little twinge. I thought it was soft tissue, and I hoped it was soft tissue, like in my calf area, but never really went away. And so I kept on running on it because why not?
Because that's
And
what we do as runners.
yeah, and so about
That's
two
funny.
weeks
So
later,
let's
oh
stop
yeah,
there
yeah,
real quick because I think it's important. Even somebody that has been running for a long time and somebody that knows, look, you've been running in high school and college, hardcore. You've had coaches and trainers and all these things, right? And what you know is slightly went out the door because you love running so much, you're so used to it. You're like, oh, even though, and to me, like you're a beginner marathoner, right? Coming back from 26.2, you've never ran that fast for that long. You've run fast for a long time, but not that long. Knowing, look, we all need to rest, and especially as fast as you did it, but also as long as you did it. It's not that long, 2 hours and what, 26, 27 minutes. Still really great, but you're just like all of us, Trev.
yeah. No,
We all learn, I think.
I'm still a beginner marathoner. Like I'm still going through that same process, and I completely agree with that. I do love running, and so it just so happened that my mind felt fine, but my body was not ready for it yet.
Yeah, yeah. I think we all fall into that. So what'd you do then? Like you tweaked your
Yeah.
calf or what?
So I thought it was my calf, and because I think I that third week when I started to run, I felt okay at first. I went ahead and signed up for Cowtown because I've heard great things about that, and I was really excited to run that. And I had signed up for the half there, and so I think because of that, I was pushing my mileage a little bit quicker than I should have, and I should have ramped up a little bit slower. But it turns out it wasn't a calf. It kept on hurting. My first workout back, I was doing a little treadmill tempo just to see how it felt. And after that, it was hurting pretty bad and it started to throb at night. And that's when I was like, okay, this might not be a muscle anymore. That's when I was starting to started being concerned that it was bone. Went and got an x-ray and it didn't show anything, but then the MRI did. And so I had a little tibial stress reaction. So the fact that the x-ray didn't show anything was good. It's a smaller stress reaction, but went ahead and took 6 weeks off because of that from that MRI. And then I since then have been slowly working back into it. So this is actually my second week where I'm slowly starting to run again and feeling everything out.
How's that going? Like, how's it feeling?
It hurts on and off, but it's not the like I haven't felt it throbbing at rest, which is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for it either throbbing at rest or getting progressively worse throughout the run because I've had injuries in the past where it's hurt a little bit at the beginning coming back, but luckily I've had trainers then that have said, "Hey, we're looking for like a trend in it hurting because it's gonna if you haven't used a certain muscle group or like you favored a certain area for a certain amount of time, then it's gonna be a little bit tender at first when you come back. And so don't be, and you're also going to be overly sensitive to that area because every single run, you're going to be like, okay, does this specific part feel okay? So I felt a little bit of that, but nothing systematic. So I'm just feeling it out day by day.
Are you just running slower and then less miles right now still, or just,
Yes. Yeah. I'm
okay?
doing, last week I did 3 runs of 30 minutes. And then this week I'm looking for 5 runs of 30 minutes. And I'm just slowly building up that way and just being very sensitive and cautious on it and listening to
Well,
my
that's
body
good.
say.
Look, you're actually being smart about it. So
Do my best.
that sounds like you are. And what have you been doing since? A lot of people just stop running and don't know what to do. But I think the pre-show, you mentioned that you were doing some other stuff.
Yes. So I think a lot of it for me, like I mentioned, it is running and the routine of it is a very mental, it is very important for both my mental and physical health. And so I think finding a substitute was essential for me to be able to not only keep my fitness, but also just allow me to continue working through med school. And
Yeah.
so I was fortunate enough to have a pretty nice bike at our student center that I've been using. And I was originally actually trying to do the Art Trainer, which is like an elliptical, but it's supposed to mimic the motion of running better. A lot of professional athletes like to use that, but that was bothering my tibia, and so I decided to go for the bike, which didn't hurt at all. And I was using a kind of a rule of thumb that I've heard in the running community, which is 10 minutes of cross training equals 1 mile of easy running. And I wasn't bothering to do too many workouts, but I was just trying to get the minutes in that zone 2 heart rate for as long as I could, just so I can at least maintain some of that aerobic base, because that's the hardest to build over time. That takes the most time to build. So if I lose that, it's going to take a lot longer to come back. And I'm not worried about like the peak fitness that's going to come when I am back at full mileage and doing those harder workouts. But because of that 10 minutes is 1 mile rule, it does take a lot of time. So I was doing 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the afternoon every day, or not every day. I guess it was like 4 days a week I would do that, and 3 days a week I was
Pretty
using the other.
intense. I love it.
It was pretty intense. Yeah, I was originally aiming for 12 hours a week of cross training, but that just wasn't doable. I was not able to sustain that with my school schedule, so I brought it down to 10 hours a week. So I'm basically trying to stay at, if you use that rule, roughly 60 miles a week of just that base training.
How, I guess you were saying like it's 10 minutes per mile, like when you train, but how fast were you running your miles in the first place at a slow pace?
A lot of my zone 2 mileage is depending on the day, like 7 to 7:15 pace, 7 minutes to 7:15 pace. But here I'm just looking at that heart rate. So I just have my Garmin on and I'm just making sure I stay around 140 to 150 heart rate.
So for your 30-minute runs that you've been doing lately, how fast are you running those? Or is it a little bit slower than you normally would? Or
They've been a little bit slower. I've had the privilege of being able to run with friends that kind of make sure that I stay slower, because if I run by myself, then I just kind of get lost in my own thoughts, go too fast. I'm not in zone 2 anymore. But when I'm running with friends and talking, like it's a lot more enjoyable too. And I think it varies anywhere from 7 to 8 minute pace now,
okay.
but I'm just kind of feeling it out. I will say that the biking did work because I do feel my heart rate it's definitely a little bit higher than it would have been running the same pace earlier before I got hurt, but it's not considerably higher. So I did lose some, but I feel pretty good about it.
We're all going to lose it a little bit if we get injured, but I applaud you for one. I think it's just normal what you did, and you went too much. You did too much too soon. I think that's normal. But two is you kind of backed off, went to the doctor, got an MRI and made a plan to say, okay, I'm going to take 6 weeks off, but I'm just going to get on the bike, focus in. You had a plan and to get better. Sounds like you still have a little bit of pain. We'll see what happens in the future. Do you think so? When you look at future wise, are you thinking of a race in a few months or longer, or what's your thinking around that?
Originally, my plan was to do Grandma's Marathon in June.
Uh,
That's kind of what I had my sights set on. But for me, when I have a marathon on the books like that, that's that soon, I tend to push my recovery too quickly and prioritize getting fit for the race over getting healthy. And so I recently pulled out of that one officially just because I did not want to get in the way of my own recovery. And so right now I'm just focusing on getting healthy as quickly as possible, but in a safe manner, obviously, not
Love
rushing it
it.
in any way.
It's not easy, I'm sure.
It's tough. It's tough, but it does become a lot easier when I am not thinking about something that I need to train for. So right now, my big picture goal is Houston 2026. I'm
Okay.
looking at that as the marathon that I really think I can run fast at. Sub 220, possibly Olympic trial standard is what I'm looking for there. Depending on,
Wow.
obviously, it depends on what my training looks like throughout the fall, but that's what I'm aiming for. And then as a prelude to that, I think Dallas works really well with Houston in that way, time wise, because the Dallas half is about 3 weeks out from the Houston full.
You'll
So
do the
that's going to
half.
be a
Yeah, I was
great
about to say, don't be doing the
yes.
marathon, dude.
No, I'm not gonna. I'm not. I learned my lesson there. No, we're not doing back to back.
That's good. I'll be interested to see how you do in the half. Do you have some potential goal there? Or?
No, I think I'm really just gonna see where my fitness is at. I think I won't have a full, like a concrete goal until probably early mid-November where I see where my fitness is at. But I think if I'm trying to hit sub 220, I'm gonna want to be close to 106, 107 and a half.
What's your best half? I don't even know.
Right now it's right now it's 110.30, but I've only run one half and I was at Tour de Flor last year and it was pretty hot. So
I just
I
feel
want to
like
get
you're a
like a good
rookie,
half
dude.
in at some point. Sorry?
It's like you're a super fast rookie at running these
I
long
appreciate it.
distances.
Yes,
It's
it's been
crazy.
fun. It's been fun to figure out.
Yeah. Yeah. There's 5Ks and 10Ks out there, so I'm surprised that you're not thinking about some of those. I'm sure you're still at a 15 something once you get better kind of condition there and feel better.
Yes, honestly, originally my race plan before I got hurt, I was starting to make it after Dallas. Okay, here's what my race plan is going to look like, assuming I'm not getting hurt. And it went Cowtown and then Cap 10K in about now, actually. I think it is this coming Sunday, I believe. So I was going to try to run that, but obviously that's not happening now. I do want to run that at some point, though, and get some of those
Which
red
one is
zone
it?
days in. The Capital 10,000, it's in Austin, and it's a pretty big race, and usually
Yeah.
attracts some pretty fast athletes.
Yeah, it's nothing like, I'm sure that you get up on the line and you're like, man, I want to beat these guys, every one of them. You know,
Yeah,
you have a chance in general.
yeah. If I'm not fully fit, I'm not going to enter myself in a race because I don't. I'd rather just train through it until I feel very confident going into it because I get unnecessarily stressed out if I'm not feeling as fit as I think I should be going into it, and then that just mentally plays with you during the race too.
Yeah. Look, I'm just trying to get in the mind of Travis here and what's going on. So that is interesting. You do put a lot of stress on yourself during these races because you want to do well. But at the end of the day, like we're having fun with it. You got to allow yourself to, yeah, you want to compete, but have fun with it. That's just why we do it. You mentioned the reason you do it is because to get that mental aspect, right? You're going through a lot of stressful kind of school stuff. You want to be the best you can at that and let running be that outlet, you know? But
True.
also compete. You have a chance to win a lot of these races, and I think that's okay. But I like your attitude to say, you know what, I'm going to go in this race and just do it as a training race, fast but not overly fast.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think a lot of the races that I schedule myself for are I'm a very competitive person and I kind of channel that a lot of that into running so that doesn't show in other parts of my life where it doesn't need to be showing. I
Smart.
yeah, so I also use those races as just a way to focus my training because I think that like you said the training is the main part that allows me to stay mentally stable and regimented with my schedule day to day. And that's what I'm really trying to get out of this. But at the end of the day, having races to look forward to really make that
Yeah,
training meaningful.
you could unleash that competitive spirit every now and then. Why wouldn't you? Like, even I'll go in hoping to, when I'm racing, I want to do my best. I'm going to try to get a PR. Now, am I upset? Not necessarily anymore. I used to, because as you get older, you're like, I do this just for the fitness and the community and things like that. But I still want to do well. If I see somebody that generally beats me, but I'm close to beating them, I want to beat them. Like, that's just the way it is. And if you have a chance to get up on the line, you're probably going to want to win or at least beat somebody you could potentially beat. I talked to, do you know his name? I forgot his name. Do you run with Completely Sloth?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you know Matt Campbell?
Oh, yes, yes, I do.
Yeah.
He's on.
We were talking about it on one of these podcasts. It's, look, if you do well, I hope you do well, but I still want to beat you. And if I don't, it's okay. I'm glad you had a great race, kind of thing.
No, I think running with him is great too. He has a very similar mindset to me, I think, and I'm still learning a lot from him in terms of being a competitive racer and also a practicing physician. It's a tough balance, and
Yeah,
I'm not there
that's
yet,
right.
but I'm learning. I think doing workouts with him, I've done quite a few workouts with him, and it is a really great mindset in terms of it's a healthy competition always in workouts. It's always, I'm going to try to hang with you and I want to beat you in this workout. But at the end of the day, we're just trying to push each other through each workout because it is a lot less fun to do a workout like that, like a 10-mile
That's
tempo
right.
or something like that alone. And then on race day, obviously all bets are off. But then as soon as you cross the finish line, like the endorphins and stuff after the race, like the cool downs with other competitors, it's great. I love it. That's one of my favorite parts of the sport for sure.
That's awesome. Are you thinking of like maybe in the summer doing a 5K, 10K or anything like just a race that's close by or something? Or
I'm sure I'll do a couple of those because I'll be here over the summer and hopefully I'm hitting pretty high mileage over the summer and just being very consistent in that. That's the goal. And I think I'm not good at scheduling races for farther out. I think I need to get in the habit of that because for marathons you can't just you can't say, oh yeah, I just want to run a marathon a month. No, that's already sold out. And so I need to learn how to schedule further out. But right now, what I really like to do is just say, oh, I feel really fit right now. Let me go ahead and sign up for this race. And
yeah, I
I
can
feel
do
like I
that on
can
the
test myself.
5Ks and stuff.
Yes, that's true.
You should. So I'm going to be doing it's called the Mambo Taxi Run race. It's a 5K, and literally like 3 or 4 thousand people are in there, right? And there's some good competitors in the 5K, but all it is a 5K race. It's a big party. At the end, they have Mambo taxis and things like. It's a cool race, fun. It's in the summer. It's in mid-June, I think. Even if you come out and just let's just call it jog it, it's fun. So think about it. I
No,
might push.
I
I'll
mean, I'm
send you the
definitely
link.
looking for, yeah, please send me the link. I'm definitely looking for little races like that just to break up the monotony of training. And I like a lot of my friends that I know that are training for marathons will do 5K, 10K stuff during the summer and spring months just because it does break up training a little bit and it gives you a different focus so that you don't get burned out too easily looking forward to one specific marathon.
Especially in the summer, it's not like you're going to PR in one of those things. Most
Yeah.
likely, if you do, then maybe it's your first race or something. But it's just going to be hot as hell and just fun to hang out and just be around your community of runners. Like it's just for whatever reason, 5Ks are way more fun. And I don't do a ton of them, but usually I'm doing the half marathons or whatever. But they're just not a party. It's just kind of weird. It's like you
I
go to
mean,
the
it's nice
5K
because
and it's
everyone has a lot more energy at the end of them too. You're not
yeah,
done like you are at the end of a marathon. I'm not trying to party after a marathon like that.
no, that's a
For
good
5K,
point.
yeah.
You'll be all right. Yeah, I'll send you if you're interested. I'll send you the link.
Yeah, please do.
But there's some cool 5Ks in the summer and stuff like that. There's this one we're doing tonight. It's called White Rock something. I forgot what it is, but just a 5K. Hang out and go run a 5K with a bunch of people at night. 7. Yeah, I mean,
On a Thursday night, that's pretty cool. I like that.
yeah, it's just hey, let's go run a little faster than usual and just hang out with our friends, that kind of thing. And again, they'll have a party afterwards, and if you like beer and all that stuff, they'll have it. I don't drink a lot of beer anymore, but they have food and all that kind of stuff. So I think 5Ks are, like I said, it's just a party. So you're kind of getting back on track, hopefully. It sounds like there's some progress, so that's exciting. And you're thinking about a race, full marathon next year in Houston. Love Houston, by the way. You've never run anything in Houston, right? Or marathon half?
I ran there in college, but I haven't run any races. So I'm
Okay,
very familiar with the course. Have volunteered a couple of times for the marathon, but never actually
okay.
competed in it myself.
That'd be fun. Can't wait to
I'm looking forward
see
to
how
it.
you do there. I know Brent Woodall ran. Did he run the half or full? I forget the full. He was trying to because he just turned 40, and he was trying to think about how close can he get to Masters. So he did okay, but we'll see. Are you
That's a
going to
good course to
Boston
do it
next
for
year?
sure.
Are you going?
I want to do Boston at some point, and I
Okay.
think yeah, next year would probably end up being the year that I do it. It just has to work well with
Qualified.
yes, but I just have to work. It has to work well with my rotations and everything. I don't know. Like by then, I will be in my clinical rotations, and so depending on what rotation I'm on, I don't want to force it when it's not there. Like I would want Boston to be a really good experience, and to have time before to really rest and get ready for it, and then time after to recover. So we'll see. I'm definitely gonna do it at some point.
Yeah, and I think that maybe something that you said is, hey, I'm in Houston, I'm looking at trying to get under 220 potentially and maybe hit that Olympic kind of thing. And I mean, it's probably doable for you. I wouldn't have any doubt, but that way you'll know exactly where you are in the next few years to go after a really good time in Boston. It'd be fun to say you're an elite marathoner at Boston. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
I think that is definitely part of the motivation as well. I wouldn't want to run Boston right now with only the one marathon under my belt because 226 isn't going to get me into any of those elite or sub-elite fields at Boston. If I'm running Boston, I would want to have at least a sub 220 time that would allow me to get in those preferential entry corrals that would basically allow me to not get caught up in all the traffic at the beginning and run against some very high caliber runners as well.
Yeah, man, because I don't know how, if I'm sure you've done that like in college, and it's a different kind of atmosphere and different feel at that level. A lot of those guys are faster than you. And so how does that feel? And how does that push you to compete even bigger and better? You'll get that in Houston though. There's a lot, there'll be a really fast people in Houston.
Yeah,
They'll be at your
Houston, they
level.
usually get like this year, I want to say they got at least 5 or 6 people under at least the old standard. We'll see. We'll see what the new standard is, but
What do you
I
think it
think
will be?
it'll be good. I don't know. I hope it's not. I hope it's only like a 1 minute decrease. Right now, it was 218 for the last cycle for the Olympic trials, but this year I'm hoping it's only a drop to 217. But a drop to 216, I don't know. We'll see. It's gonna be tough to get into that.
But we'll see where you are, man. No, no telling. How is it? Because with school being so intense right now, and I don't really see that letting up for the next what couple years.
Yeah, not at all.
So how does that go into your mindset of, okay, I definitely have these lofty goals for running, but the main thing here is getting through school and doing well through school. How do you think about that?
I do think that if I was focused too much on running, if I was doing running and maybe some other job that I didn't really care about as much, I would get too focused on running. And that has come back to bite me in the past. My 5th year in college, I had a little bit less rigorous of a academic schedule. And while that was nice, I'm not good at letting myself rest and just do nothing. And so I think a lot of that results in me overtraining and thinking too much about running. And so I think being in med school provides a really good balance of me not thinking about running all the time, maybe doing more miles than I should just because I have the time to, because it's fun, because I like to do it. If I'm only limited to an hour and a half of running a day, then I'm not going to overtrain. I'm also, maybe I'm not doing all the rolling and recovery that I need to be doing because I'm studying or because I'm in the clinic or doing research or something like that. But it's things that I'm passionate about and that get my mind off of it off of running for a little bit so that I am able to come back to it a little bit more refreshed. And so I think they complement each other really nicely in that way.
You mentioned you got away to San Diego during our pre-show. What do you
Yeah.
do for fun? What's the
Oh, it was great. So I think getting away like that is great for me. I love my favorite are trips where I'm going to a national park or something or some more remote area where I am forced to not think about school or work or any of those things. And I also don't have access to good running because then it's okay, now I have to sit back and not do anything. And being there with friends, I was there with a group of awesome friends that really made it easy to let my mind wander and not get caught up in school or running or any of that. So I was running a little bit on the beach. It was great. One of my friends put it really well actually. It was our runs were all along this boardwalk right on the beach and it was basically a carbon copy of when you get on the treadmill and you do one of those like automated runs where you're just like running through the scenery. It was basically that. Like you're running through all these
That's pretty
imaginary
cool.
people and like running right through them. It's great.
But these are real
It's
people.
Yes,
So
exactly. I made sure to dodge them. I made sure to dodge them in real life,
that's good.
but it was beautiful and did a lot of kayaking, a little bit of surfing. That was my first time surfing, so that was fun. And
Nice.
grateful to have had that opportunity to just reset for 4 days and come back hopefully mentally and physically ready to go again, both in school and in running.
That's awesome. See, you do get out a little bit. You still did some running, but
Yes.
that's you're not focused in on training per se. It's just going out, hanging out with friends. And you mentioned do you have a job too? You
I don't have a specific, like I don't have a paid job, but it's
Oh,
more
okay.
just outside of school. I also work in a clinic and do some research, and it's related to school, so it's all affiliated with UT Southwestern, but it provides good opportunities to improve the skill set that I'm going to need as a doctor outside of just learning about these different diseases and how to manage them.
What kind of doctor do you want to be? What's your
I
focus?
don't know for sure yet. I'm not in clinical rotations, and I think that'll be when I am able to truly zero in on something. Right
Okay.
now, I have a ranked order list, and I think at the top of that list is either exercise cardiology or pediatric cardiology. I think it aligns really well with my interests and my personality, and I am currently working with a physician that's in that area of work. She's been an amazing mentor, and I've also shadowed her and loved what she does. So I could definitely see myself doing that. Another one would be physical medicine rehabilitation, just because I think, again, that aligns really well with my values and what I what I could see myself doing in terms of the patients that I'm caring for, the kinds of things that I'm prescribing in terms of exercise, in terms of how to improve someone's lifestyle. And the focus is really aligned with what I would want to do there. So those are two that I'm
Sounds
looking at right now. We'll see.
that's cool. When do you hope to make that decision? Like a year from now, or?
Fortunately, we don't have to make the decision for sure until we're applying for our residency, which would be in my honestly, I don't know the exact timeline. And that's something for further down the road. Right now, we're just focused on
Just got to
passing
get
step
through it.
one, which is basically like the first of our board exams. But I believe it would be end of third year, beginning of fourth year would be when I want to have cemented that. And so that's going to be 2027 is going to be when I'm. So I have some time. I have some time.
Yeah, you have time. Look, you've got a lot to learn, and you're learning, and you'll figure it out just as everybody else does. But no, I was just curious to, because I don't know how all that goes. So basically, you have a couple more years of school, and then you go into residency. Is that, or, and
Yes,
then
sir. So I'm
that's
in my
what, a couple
first
more
year
years?
now, and then we have clinical rotations through our second and third years. And then fourth
Okay.
year, you can either do away rotations or elective rotations where that would be the ideal situation is you, after the end of your prescribed rotations or required core rotations that everyone does, you have an idea of what you want to do, and then you explore that more by doing rotations at other institutions in that specific area, or you're taking electives or clinical courses where you're doing more work in that area to make sure that's what you want to do as you apply to residency in that fourth year, and then hopefully match to a residency at the end of your fourth year.
Cool. Do you plan on, look, and I know we're not talking about running per se. It's okay. Do you plan on staying in Dallas, or is it wherever it takes you?
I don't
Austin,
know.
whatever.
It's definitely wherever it takes me. I could definitely see myself staying in Dallas. I love, and obviously running isn't the only motivation for that, but since this is a running podcast and running is one of the motivations for that, I love the running community here. And I haven't gotten the opportunity to get super involved in it just because at the beginning of my first year, I was so focused on getting adjusted. And then I finally started to get involved in it, started to run with the slots a little bit, and then I got hurt. And so now I'm out of it again. And so I would really like to continue to build relationships in this community and get more runs in with people. And there's great places to run here. People say that Dallas isn't a great place to run, which there are better cities out there, having just gone to San Diego, which is probably one of them. But
Right. Well,
this
at the
is,
beach. That's
yeah,
different.
this is a beautiful place to run. Just went on Katy Trail this morning, never gets old. And I'm super grateful for that.
Look, I think we've talked about this, or I've talked about it several times with others, is Dallas is a great running community. Literally, Dallas Fort Worth is, I mean, there's so many, fast runners. There's so many runners, period, right? And there's literally over 30 or 40 groups in DFW. Groups. People that are running with 10, 20, 30, 80 people at a time. It's insane. And that was one of my reasons for doing this podcast is bringing people like you on that are winners, but mainly it's, hey, running is a lifestyle and we care about our health. We care about those kinds of things. And to me, it's one of the things that you can do that is a very healthy thing. Yes, we run into injuries. Maybe we go too far sometimes with doing too much, kind of like you mentioned, but you're not the only one, right? We all do it. I see like these new runners get on and run, they're training for a marathon, and all of a sudden they're doing 7 marathons in 1 year. And I'm like, are you insane? I don't care how slow or whatever you're running that thing, it's just going to end badly. But we have to learn. We all get excited about these things, and it's okay. But to say all that, I agree with you. DFW is awesome for the running community. And that's why we do that. That's why I'm doing this, is to bring out people like you to do it. And such interesting stories. Look at you, like you're going through school, you're going to be a doctor at some point, going through the struggles and fun and things like that, going on these nice trips. You're still trying to figure out the running piece. We all have our opportunities and times in our lives of why we run. So I appreciate you telling your story again in a different
Yeah,
way.
no, I appreciate you doing this podcast too, because I completely agree. I think it's important to hear the different perspectives. And honestly, just listening to your podcast, I've found people in the running community. I was like, dang, I didn't know they existed. I really want to get around with them sometime. So
Yeah.
definitely things to look forward to and a lot of people to meet still. Super excited for that.
There's always people to meet, man. Like one of the reasons I did this was because I wanted to meet people like you that I would probably never get a chance to run with because speeds are different or whatever. But we should do it. Probably more like 8-minute paces, and that's fairly fast for me just to do a long run. But still, I would love to. But I think that the point is we're going to do it together, and I get to talk to people like you that are doing amazing things and that I wouldn't get to necessarily talk to if I weren't going to reach out to you to do this stuff. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Did I miss anything? Did you want to bring anything up that I completely missed?
No, I don't think so. Just hoping that I can continue to progress in the right direction. Who knows? You might look at my Strava in a
You will.
couple weeks and I'm flatlining again at zero, but we'll see. Fingers crossed that doesn't happen.
You know, the beauty about running is that unfortunately we get injured, but you'll be back. You've got the mindset. One way or another, you'll be smart. And that's the key is just be smart, listen to the body, stop whenever you got to stop or slow down, whatever. That's really the thing. Thanks everyone for tuning in to another DFW Running Talk. I'm Chris Detzel. Don't forget to rate and review us. Travis, thanks again for coming on. Really do appreciate it.
So thank you, Chris, for having me. It was a pleasure.
All right.